Hello folks, live from the How of Cramar, Studio 1, Domains in Craigie. This is number 32, Paul Anderson and Shona Donaldson. I expect we'll see a lot of the same familiar faces and names popping up. Much the same as normal, pretty much. Music, song, a bit of poetry, some nonsense, fits in the box, all that sort of stuff, name a beer. But tonight, it's significant for us because at this time of the year, middle of October, traditionally, since certainly early 1990s, this was the time that the Doric Festival used to run. It ran for a couple of weeks, and it was the Hail of the North East. I mean, that could be from Braemar up to Peterhead, Aberdeen, Inverurie, Tarland. It was very much a community-led event. There was maybe 6 or 7 main events that were run by the festival. But what they basically did was gave all the different communities a platform to put their events into the programme, and it did a lot at the time to promote the culture and the language of the northeast of Scotland. So it was a great event, and then suddenly it's kind of fallen by the wayside. But the main man for that was a chap called Sandy Stronach, who bides up near Strichen, up in Buchan. So I've never seen Sandy ever looking in, but if he is looking in, just wanted to say how much it's appreciated how much he did.
Virtual Doric Festival, and in honour of the Virtual Doric Festival, I've dressed up the night.
Come on.
The kitchen dame's here with my bonnet on. This is what I wear when we're doing the Bothy Ballad Championships. This is my rigout.
It's a wifey's rigout. The men didn't wear that.
You didn't wear that. But I kind of mannies wear their Nicky Dams and but I didn't do that. I get dressed up like this. And I got my beats on because I'm just in the house. But I've got it's a bit fancy actually, this bonnet. It's quite lacy.
Well, it's a quality place you work at.
Well, this was back then. I never imagined I would bide in the mains. God almighty. So there you go. I'm dressed up as a kitchen dame.
So, just the normal, we'll say hello, try and keep on top of all the notifications coming in, and we'll head a bit of this as well, our favourite.
What's in the box? 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 What's in the box?
So fit is in the box.
Fits in the box. Get away, sugar.
So, what do you think of that? Give us a shout. Send your answers in by carrier pigeon to win a coconut.
Or you can send me a comment and I'll put it down in a bit of paper.
You could just email. Be a lot quicker, but just a bit of fun, just to see if anybody can get it right.
And you've got to guess the beer now.
Guess the beer now.
Guess the beer.
Because some folk are, I think there's been more folk have pitched in guesses for the Fitz of beer than there has been for the whiskey. Fitz of whiskey. Fitz the ale, Fitz the beer, and it's Scottish. I try to get a Scottish beer. If I went international, there's no way anybody would guess. I don't think, but if it's Scottish, there is more of a chance. Although there's a lot of beers out there, a lot of really good Scottish real ales and beers. So what do you think that is? We'll tell you about it later on. But colour might be suggestive for some folk. So let me see.
So if you're just joining us, this is our Virtual Doric Festival, which would normally be on this time. So I'm going to leave you to it. I'm going to go and switch off the heating because it's roasting in here. Anyway.
It is. I am feeling it.
I can see you.
8 metres of tartan on him.
Right, okay.
Yeah, you begin to feel it a little bit.
Sorry.
Oh, it's fine for the winter, right enough. So, music for the northeast of Scotland. There's plenty to pick for. And to be honest, I mean, I do play a lot of stuff for the northeast because there's folk like James Scott Skinner, Peter Milne, William Marshall, and Monty Mayer that have written great tunes. So there's no shortage of music that's appropriate. So some of these will be quite familiar pieces. Some of these would tend to be more sung, but Shona's not singing some of this in. So what I'm going to play is one of the best songs for the northeast of Scotland, actually. It's called the Back of Benahee, or Gonna War for the Gary Runs.
Especially for George Mitchell.
For George, Dodd. Just for you, Buck a Benahee, which is it's a famous mountain in the northeast of Scotland. I think if you come for Inverurie, Moneymoss, Garford, over towards up to Buchan, they would probably say Benahee is the hill. It's the iconic northeast mountain. It's got a Pictish fort on the top, remarkable place, like unbelievable to go and see. Great feet thick was just amazing, and it's vitrified as well. And it looks like a tusk. And a lot of folk didn't ken that, is it J.R.R. Tolkien used to come up to the northeast of Scotland. And in that area there's a Bilbo Bridge. Did you ken that? See, that kind of falls into place when you realise that. And I thought that if you're into Lord of the Rings, Benahee has a look at Mount Doom for the books. Anyway, that's just my fertile imagination. But anyway, there you go, Benahee, famous mountain. If you're for D side, you'd probably favour Loch Nagar, but Benahee, I would probably say, for the whole of the northeast, it is the iconic bit of landscape. After that, I'm going to go up to Buchan. We're going to play Mormont Braes, famous ballad. Move on to a pair of Nicky Tams. Now, Shona mentioned Nicky Tams. Folk for the district would probably ken, unless you're a mere modern vintage. Youngsters probably didn't ken, but Nicky Tams, for anybody who doesn't ken, was an absolutely essential item for every farm labourer, farm worker, ploughman, that kind of thing. In fact, they were like, I suppose they looked a bit like dog collars in a way. They were leather straps, proper leather straps with probably a brass buckle, and you tied them around the top of your leg. And what they did was they kept the fit of your breeks, the bottom of your trousers, for getting dirty. Some folks said that they were for also keeping the rats from going up your trouser leg. I'm not sure. My granddad said he didn't come up his leg, and it was an unpleasant experience. He was out shouting up the byres, checking the beasts at night, and it was in the door runner. He opened the door to come down and shot right up his leg. He caught it up his thigh, and I think he squashed it against the wall.
Oh, God.
Well, you would want to be rid of it pretty damn quick, because they didn't want to go down, it just kept wanting to go up. So he hit it by the scruff of the neck under his trousers, and it made a hell of a mess of his leg, apparently. So there you go, that's a tale I didn't expect to tell tonight. But Nicky Tams, absolutely essential. If you see any Bothy Ballad pictures, you'll see the firm boys, if the ploughman, are wearing Nicky Tams. And then we're going to finish with the regimental march of the Gordon Highlanders, the Cock of the North. The Gordon Highlanders were the regiment of the northeast of Scotland. So there you go.
Auntie Mary had a canary.
Yep, that is true. Like you say, Shona, phew.
I've switched off the heating, sorry Paul.
Yeah, it's the warmest I've been in here for a while actually.
That's because I bled the radiators. We got ale delivered, and I thought I would be clever and bleed the radiators just to make sure everything was fine for the winter. So that's why it's roasting in here.
Aye, anyway, it's better than me too, Carl. I will say that.
I've got a lot of hellos.
I see that.
Leah Rossfall's watching. Bruno over in Dijon. Your mum and dad up the road. Frank and Lorraine Ribbons over in Abine. And Wyatt and Paul Gray are going to have a posh tonight. They've got cocktails and a roast chicken dinner.
Oh, no. Okay. It might come over after we finish.
Karen Fraser's watching. Hello, Karen. Lorelei Bach in Pennsylvania. Gordon Calder and Bonnie Whitney. Jane Roberts in Philadelphia says it's quite dreich. Uncle Tommy's watching over in Huntley. I'm not sure if Sonia's watching or not, but hello, Beth. Shirley and John Fuchs in Skene, Margaret Kerr in Australia, Annabelle Stewart and all at Milne's, and she says her dad apologises for the racket you made in the tractor when you were filming for the Food and Music Festival. It was him.
Well, I nearly lodged a formal complaint, but
no.
No, I never noticed.
Margaret and Murdo, hello both up in Lewis. Alison McDonald from the San Francisco Bay Area. Sally Day Butler's joining us tonight as well. Sandy Thompson for Dingwall. My mum and dad, Grace and Matt, hello. Joe and Pat Aitken are also in Dingwall tonight. Jim and Kate Taylor are in Garlogie. Elizabeth McMillan in Ottawa. Heather Morrison in Strachan. Ulla is watching from Stockholm, hello. Sandy White in Mintlaw, Isabel Langenard Guy, Tracy and Hugh Adelsey, regulars of the show. Andrew Brandy, Alexander Thompson, Ted Cremar down in Morpeth, Martin Mitchell and Jinsey Lamprecht in Maryland is watching.
Good. Well, that's a long list.
That's a long list. I've got some guesses. Are you wanting to do any guesses? There's been
I'm not going to play it just so we kind of overdo it.
What's in the box? What's in the box?
Diddly-dee.
What's in the box? So Margaret Stewart thinks it's dimes and dollars. I'm presuming that was a guess. She just put dimes and dollars in the comments.
Maybe is that a quest?
I don't know. Alan Taylor thinks it's coins. Elizabeth McMillan thinks paper clips. Karen Fraser thinks a chain. Frank Ribbons thinks a key on a key ring. Uncle Tommy thinks it's the things that you put in the side of your sweet corn when you're eating it. I kind of things that you mean.
Okay,
I reckon
that could be that card.
Sweet corn hudders.
Corn forks. Corn forks.
Hudders. Corn hudders.
Corn hudders.
And Alison McDonald thinks it's the key to her summer house. Oh, I wish.
Well, that'd be nice.
I wish. Tracy Adelsey thinks it could be Black Isle Blonde. Mm-hmm. Alison McDonald thinks Jukers, and Hugh Adelsey thinks Schiehallion.
See, I'm looking at this on the screen. I can see us, and I'm looking at that. You ever seen the film Ice Cold and Alex?
No.
No?
No.
Oh, it's all black and white film. They crossed the desert during the Second World War, and is it John Mills? I think he's a bit of a drink problem, because he's craving a drink, but they get across the desert against the odds, and they get into the bar and they put this. It's more like the size of a schooner, I think, that you get in Australia. They're not like half. It's a 2.5 pint and a half pint sort of size, and he's looking at the beads running down it, and you could just about taste it watching him. But it's I think you have. I think Carlsberg actually did an advert using that. They did these all clips, and the thing about that was it was actually Carlsberg glasses that they used in the film. I think completely accidentally, but they were great adverts actually. Some of the companies come up with absolute classics, and that was definitely one. If Wannabe minds it, give us a shout. So I'm going to move on now. I'm going to play one of my own tunes, and earlier this year, well in fact it was the end of last year, I just can't believe it's so far back, but a chap called Ben McMillan in Marcel. Ben's from just north of, just outside Ellen, and he's a great composer. Well, the two of us got the commission to write Visit Aberdeen and Aberdeenshire's music for their advertising campaign, and if you're listening to Original 106, I will say I've heard that some of the music being played, well, just about every time I'm in the car. If I'm in the car for any length of time, they're using it. So it's quite a big work actually. It's about, I would say it's about 20 minutes in total. And so Ben composed some of it and I composed some, and it was all arranged. And my themes that I used, I was trying to capture the various aspects of the Northeast to me, anyway. And so I entitled this in Benahee, and it's I suppose it's a landscape, because it's such an iconic bit of the landscape, Benahee. But it's also, there's the Pictish fort, so it's kind of tapping into the the length of time folk have been living in the area. And then there's also the historic stuff for, that's believed to be the strongest contender for the Battle of Mons Graupius was fought. And that's for Grampian gets its name for the Battle of Mons Graupius. The Romans won, they claimed, anyway, but I'm not convinced. I've seen no evidence. And that is the thing, they've never found the actual battlefield, but Tacitus's history, it matches what he writes about. And also there's a massive, great big Roman camp just across the road for it. It's big enough to have 20,000 legionnaires and auxiliaries, so it's quite a thing. So I was trying to tap into that a little bit, but I've never really played this live, so I'm going to give you a taste of it. Benahi, so it's for this music we wrote.
If you go on the Visit Aberdeenshire Facebook page,
you can find it. Aye, that's right. I can't mind. I've just put in Visit Aberdeenshire. You could probably track it down. Thank you.
I've got a few more guesses.
Oh, for the box?
Well, for everything actually.
In fact. It's in the box.
So, a few more guesses. Tracy Addlesey thinks bicycle clips. Heather Morrison thinks a cork or a whiskey bottle. Nikki in the pub thinks a Lego. Paul Gray thinks the remnants of brake pads and discs from the front left side that caused Anne's car to fail its MOT today.
Oops.
Kate Taylor thinks bulldog clips. Lorelei thinks screws and nails. Sandy Thompson thinks a dog collar ID discs. Jim Taylor thinks dominoes. Hugh Addlesey, key for bleeding radiators. No. Anne Wyatt thinks picture hooks, and Joe Aitken thinks a few chuggies.
Okay.
The beer.
We've got now.
Frank Ribbons thinks Brewdog's Hazy Jane. Nikki thinks Caesar Augustus. Heather Morrison thinks Skull Splitter. Lynn Forsyth thinks Joker IPA. And Sandy Thompson thinks Kilt Lifter.
Kilt Lifter.
Nae Kilt Lifter tonight. Absolutely nae
Well,
Kilt Lifter.
these are all great answers because there are good beers.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I've looked at every one of these as it happens, but You're all wrong. So there you go.
Charlie and Nona are watching, and Badger and Shona down in the village as well. And Badger's saying it was John Mills and Ice Cold and Alex, and that bit was shot heaps and heaps of times, and he downed the beer in a winner every time. And the shot that made it into the film, he's absolutely blurred. He says it was absolutely blurred in the final take.
Yeah, so. I love hearing that kind of trivia. Good. Well, I'll do one more, and then I've got a wee bit. It's not an epic poem this time. It's quite a short thing, but I think it's a great bit of northeast poetry. I thought would be suitable for the night. But I'm going to play some tunes by James Scott Skinner. If you're going to speak about musicians for the northeast, he's probably the best Kent chap, and I've certainly played one or two of his tunes the last few weeks. That's up to nearly 460. Landed in some right hardings again a day. It just held me up. Sometimes if they're easy tunes you can crack through them, but I had take after take. I tell you, you want to see the outtakes. There's dozens of them.
You want to hear the noises coming through the kitchen.
Yeah, there's some growling and cussing, I think we'd say in America. I was cussing a wee bit. So anyway, I'm going to play the Duke of Fife's Welcome to D-Side, Glen Tanner, which I think I mentioned a few weeks ago. It's known as Glen Tanner. Now they've got an R in the end, and then the Burna Forg. So I've gone for titles that are very much in the northeast, and therefore in keeping with our theme for the evening. Is there any more notifications?
There's a few more guesses for the box. Ulla thinks a necklace, Janice Holler thinks a few rocks from the garden, Isabel Lane thinks a metal puzzle out of a Christmas cracker, and Tracy Adelsey thinks Dougal's collar and tag. And the beer, Andrew Brandy thinks Brewdog, your mum thinks something for Loch Lomond Brewery, and Sandy Thompson thinks Bitter and Twisted, and he says that's the beer, and he asked
Oh, thank you very much.
A few folks saying we should be singing Happy Birthday to Dougal.
Okay, right.
He's not here.
He's slipping upstairs. He was out with the boys just a wee while ago. Right, well, Dougal.
Everybody join in. Dougal, our faithful border terrier, is how old this week?
17.
17.
Which is a pretty... I reckon if it's in human years, I mean, it's well over 100, I think.
Sure.
It's pretty good going, but he is an amazing wee man. So, just for Dougal.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Dougal. Happy birthday to you. There you go. Give the public what they want. What did they hear? Happy birthday?
Woof, woof. No.
Aye, well, that's excellent.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll leave you to it.
It's actually Margaret and Murdo are looking in. We were watching Margaret on the telly last night because as well as being a Doric festival time of the year, a much longer tradition is the Mod, the National Mod, which is a celebration of all things Gaelic and Highland. So there could be poetry and certainly singing, but they've got the instrumental classes as well. And Margaret was the Mod gold medalist in
80s.
I'm not going to say because that's ungentlemanly, but she hasn't changed a bit. But it was just nice to see her looking in after we were watching her on the telly last night on BBC Alba. So anyway, back to the Doric Festival event here. I'm going to do a poem by Charles Murray, and this is for his book Hamewith, and it's interesting. You come across that name a lot on houses. Folk use it as a house name, Hamewith. So his poetry is definitely very, very loved by the folk of the northeast of Scotland. And he actually spent a lot of his working career out in South Africa. And I think most of his poems about the northeast of Scotland were actually written while he was out there. And I think there is something to be said for kenning a place, but drawn upon your memory. Sometimes there's details that come out that you didn't notice quite so much. So his stuff's brilliant. It's been republished numerous times, and there was a new collection come out not that long ago, although it's probably about 8 years ago now, I would say. But anyway, it doesn't matter. This is a kind of Alderine. This is called Gin I Was God. So if I was God, and some of this stuff's written around about the time of the First World War, and I think maybe that is what he's got in his mind at the time. Anyway, it's a great poem here. Gin I was God, sitting up there a been, where it nae doubt now I'm a darg was deen, daved with the harps and the hymns on end and ringing, tired o' the flocking angels, hearse was singing. To some cloud edge I dander forth in faith, look o'er and watch how things were gone aneath. Syne, gin I saw how men I'd made mysel had started into pushing, sheet and fell, to reave and rape, and fairly mak a hell o' my braw Berlin earth. A hale wicks work. I'd cast my coat again, row up my sark, and o'er the time to launch a second arc, took back my word and set another spate, drew out the hale hypothec, dicht the sklate. Or my mistake, and ance I'd cleared the broad, start a thing out again, gin I was God. Which I think actually is quite a good poem for the current era we're sitting in. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I just fell in the time till the highlight of the show comes in. So, ladies and gentlemen, she's made a huge effort. She's got fancy dressed up. She looks the part.
Fancy dressed up. This is my normal Friday night. Just nobody's seen me.
Very appropriate. Bothy Ballad Champion of Champions 2000 and... I can't even mind. Was it about 4 years ago?
I can't mind.
A couple of years ago, anyway.
A couple of years ago. Can you take us out the road?
I'll take it.
Thank you.
Right, there you go.
Okay. Thanking you. So if you've just tuned in, you're probably wondering fit on earth I'm wearing. I'm in my Bothy Ballad gear tonight. This is what we usually wear when we're doing the Bothy competition, the Champions up in Elgin, which unfortunately has been cancelled for next year already. And well, partly due as well because we kind of had the heats all throughout this year. So I've got my bonnet on, and I've got my shirt, and I've got my beanie, and I've got my boots on though. So I'm going to sing a couple of songs just now. You might remember, for those of you who are regular, that I sang Rowantree, the Rowantree. Was it last week, Paul? Sang Rowantree. I think it was last week.
Within the last fortnight.
I think it was possibly last week. So I couldn't go by doing a Doric festival night, as we're doing the night, without doing something by Scotland the What. If you've never heard of Scotland the What, go onto YouTube and look them up. They were absolutely brilliant. So this is a song called Rowntree from Scotland the What. And Rowntree, I don't know if you get I don't know if you get Rowntree in America or Australia or France, or I don't know if it's a British thing, but it's they make sweeties anyway, or they made sweeties. Maybe Rowntree's not a thing anymore. Like Cadbury's. So it's not Rowantree, it's Rowntree. Right. Oh Rowntree, for it comes as what you mean to me. The world's best confectionery is made by Rowntree. I knock back plates so after it's to finish my high tea. Sweet meat purveyor beyond compare, that's you, my Rowntree. Oh Rowntree, oh Rowntree, I'm fond o' licorice, all sorts tea. I like the ains with the layers atween, and the coconut circles tea. But I'm nae too keen on the plain black ains. Well, you ken what licorice can be. So all in all, licorice all sorts fall for short o' Rowntree. Oh Rowntree. Black magic chalks and dairy box and orange flavoured aero blocks. I love the rest, but I think the best is a Kit Kat wi' my tea. But a polo mint with a holy int when you've been out on the spree means the wife will not know you're half cut, thanks to Rowntree. Oh Rowntree. But Rowntree, my Rowntree, here ends my love affair with thee. Last night I saw my avoir du bois, it fairly frightened me. So I went to see my NGP, who advised against obesity. So straight away I decided to cut down my Rowntree. Oh Rowntree. There you go. A little bit of silliness for Scotland the What.
Well, Karen Fraser, she said Scotland the What, genius.
Absolute genius.
Margaret Kerr said, good poem for these times. Martin Mitchell thought it was your normal bacon gear you were wearing.
Go and get my girdle scones on.
Jane Roberts thinks it's musket balls in the box. And Paul says that Anne White is looking for his subtitles.
Oh. You might have noticed Panda made an appearance earlier on Paul's page. That was another Scotland the What song. I've an Uncle Sandy, he is bald and bandy, and he's got nae teeth. But in spite of his deficiency, he can fuzzle most efficiently. I absolutely love that. Can you remember the rest of it?
Yeah, I was going to do it.
Oh, sorry. I'll let you do it later.
It's alright. No,
sorry.
You're okay. It finished, it goes...
Come and sing it. Come and sing it. Come in and sing it. This is Paul's. Come on.
Oh, I was a laugh of silk there.
Sorry, I didn't think you were going to sing it.
Well, I just thought
It's live TV,
Panda did it earlier and he's disappeared. I think he's set up a bar out in the shed, something like that. Anyway, I have an Uncle Sandy, he is bald and bandy and he's got nae teeth. But in spite of this deficiency, he can fussle most efficiently. He's a aura man, it means a tilly's gone at 7 miles fae Keith. As he plighters in the Sharon there, he is whistling like stink. He's in an ecstatic state, often whistling Debussy or Beethoven. If a calf has a host or a horse a cough, he soothes it with Rimsky-Korsakov.
Ta-da! Lovely, Paul. So there you go. That was another wee bit of Scotland of what? What was the other one that they did? My mother's big brother's a lump up on his rump. The doctor took one good look and then diagnosed a fluke. You'll have to go and look them up. They're brilliant.
You've got
An auntie Bunty, she bites in the country, 12 miles to Huntley. Right, okay. I'm going to sing a bothy ballad. And so, this is a song that I actually didn't sing at all. Well, I've heard other folk singing it, and I actually have taught it to a few folk, but it's nae that I sing. I'm going to hit a tick us off, I'm sorry. It's got a bit of elastic round here to keep it on, and it's digging in. So, anyway, this is a song called Johnny Sangster, and it's about Hairston. So, if you would like to join in the chorus, it's for you, Johnny, you, Johnny, you, Johnny Sangster. I'll trim the gavel o' my sheaf, for you're the gallant bandster. Okay, Johnny Sangster. Oh, the seasons o' the year, when women work the sairest, the harvest is the foremost time, and yet it is the rarest. We rise as seems the morning light, nae critters can be blither. We buckle on our finger steels and folly out the scyther. For you, Johnny, you, Johnny, you, Johnny Sangster, I'll trim the gavel o' my sheaf, for you're the gallant bandster. A morning piece to line our cheek, afore that we go forder, with clouds of blue to Buckareek, we then set out in order. The sheaves are rising thick and fast, and Johnny he mun bind them. The busy group for fear they stick, and scarcely look ahen them. For you, Johnny, you, Johnny, you, Johnny Sangster, I'll trim the gavel o' my sheaf, for you're the gallant bandster. I'll gie you bands that winna slip, I'll plet them wheel and throw them. I'm sure they winna tend the grip, however wheel you draw them. I'll lay my leg out o'er the sheaf and draw the bands a handy. We ilka stray a strach a rash, and that will be the dandy. For you, Johnny, you, Johnny, you, Johnny Sangster, I'll trim the gavel o' my sheaf, for you're the gallant bandster. If e'er a chance to be my lot to get a gallant bandster, or gar him wear a gentle coat and bring him gowd and hand fizz, but Johnny he can please himsel, I wouldna wish him blinket. So after he has brewed his ale, he can sit down and drink it. For you, Johnny, you, Johnny, you, Johnny Sangster, I'll trim the gavel o' my sheaf, for you're the gallant bandster. A dainty cowie in the byre for butter and for cheeses, a grumpy feeding in the sty would keep the hoose in greases. A bonny yowie in the bocht would help to crease the ladle, and we'll get roughs a cunny you to help to take the cradle. For you, Johnny, you, Johnny, you, Johnny Sangster, I'll trim the gavel o' my sheaf, for you're the gallant bandster. For you, Johnny, you, Johnny, you, Johnny Sangster, I'll trim the gavel o' my sheaf, for you're the gallant bandster. Johnny Sangster, which was supposedly written by a man called William Scott, who was born in Fitterangus in 1785. So there you go. A little bit of interesting information.
A few things here. Jamie Bowers thinks it's stains or pebbles that's in the box. Andrew William Brandy, he thinks Shona's brilliant.
Oh, thank you.
Barbara Dimmock, she thinks lovely, Shona, lovely. I think that's what she said. Yep, just lovely.
Thank you.
And Sandy Archer for Virginia says she could listen to you all day.
I think Sandy's in Kansas now, isn't she?
Is she?
I think so.
Well, I never noticed.
Some way. She's some way in America.
She's in America.
I was going to give this another rattle. What's in the box? Right, get your guesses in. Paul's still drinking the beer, so you better be quick with your guess or it's going to all disappear.
Right. So there you go.
You mucked up on a... You haven't.
Yeah, it's up to date. It's up to date.
Up to date.
So, what are we going to do now? Let's see. For the programme. Right. So, one of the Northeast composers that we didn't really hear so much of, his name at Will Kent, is a man called John Murdoch Henderson. He was a schoolmaster, but a great admirer of James Scott Skinner and kind of promoter of his work. And he published a book called The Flowers of Scottish Melody, and it featured folk like Peter Mill, William Marshall, Neil Gow, Nathaniel Gow, James Scott Skinner, and some of his own compositions. And he wrote a couple of tunes that are very well known. A lot of his stuff's nae so Will Kent, but he wrote some really good stuff. He obviously paid attention to some of the great masters that he admired. But these two tunes are called J.F. Dickey's Delight and J.F. Dickey. Now, Jimmy Dickey, he just died in about 1980, and I never heard him play. I've heard recordings, but he was a real, well, I suppose you'd say a kind of quintessential Northeast fiddler. He'd a highly stylised style of playing, especially things like slow strathspeys. And so this was written for him because this was just the style of Jimmy Dickey. He was an interesting guy. During the First World War, he actually he was a conscientious objector, which at that time, I mean, gosh, you really got a hard time. The community really took ill with it, but he just totally felt that it was wrong to go killing folk, and so he refused to fight, and which is a brave decision actually, because that's probably the hardest thing to do. I mean, just nae to go, you risk being cast out by your whole community. So anyway, but he was a great player, not somebody who courted publicity, but he enjoyed playing in the house with friends, and he was very much admired. So here's J.F. Dickey's Delight, followed by the real J.F. Dickey. I really like that tunes. For a slow suspe though, it's not the type of tune that's played so often. I think it's a great shame because they're kind of so distinctly Scottish, and even Scott Skinner writes in his publications that these are not meant to be danced to. They're performance tunes, and so they're kind of much more stylised, and there's a lot more room for the personal expression of the player, and they tend to be a bit more demanding. And that's probably one of the trickiest slow space you could play. They've got such a lot of character, double stopping and or driven bows and all that good stuff. What are you going to say, Shona?
There's been a few guesses for the box and the beer.
Okay.
Sandy Thompson thinks a couple of guesses for the box. Dougal's Verticate candle holders or horse brasses.
Yep.
And Andrew Brandy thinks a pair of Nicky Dams in the box.
Okay.
And the beer, Badger thinks Brewdog's Lost Lager. Sandy White.
I'd say Badger would be pretty close with it, judging by the look of it. He's probably got a good eye. You're wrong, aye. You're not right, but he's got a good eye for that sort of thing.
Sandy White thinks Spey Valley, Sunshine and Keith, and Sandy Thompson thinks Sunshine and Keith or Aaron Blonde.
Okay, that's a couple for Aaron Blonde as well, but...
Nobody's right.
You're not right.
You're all wrong.
Somebody will get it just right at the end. We'll see though. Right, I'm going to play one more set. I mentioned the stuff that I wrote for Aberdeenshire, Visit Aberdeenshire and that, so I'm going to play another two tunes. The first thing is called Dunnottar Castle, and again it's one of the most iconic castles in Scotland. There's a few that really stand out, I suppose. Elan Donnan, we were there last weekend actually. It's just beautiful. It's just the Highlands for a lot of folk. Very picturesque. Edinburgh Castle, of course. Things like Stirling in Edinburgh would be up the top of the list, and Balmoral as well, just because of the royal connection. But Dunnottar, for pure drama, it's definitely up there, and there's been a lot of Scottish history took place there. So being right on the sea, I kind of felt that could help to tie in the kind of the fisher folk into the story that we're trying to create musically. I mean, there's the history, there's the building itself, but also the sea, the North Sea, because fishing is traditionally a huge part of the economy in the northeast of Scotland. And Peterhead, to this day, just further up the coast of Aberdeen, it's the biggest white fish port in Europe, so fishing's still a big part of the economy. So, Dunnottar Castle, then I'm going to play a tune called Dr. McCardy. Now that's a tune by James Scott Skinner, and he was a real character, Dr. McCardy, a pal of Skinner's. Kind of makes sense that they would get on, but Skinner wrote this fine strathspey for him, and there's a couple of stories come down about him from my great granny, because she'd have been old enough to have probably just about kent him, but whether she'd heard him from other folk, my dad would ken better. But one of them was that one of the big houses up round about Glassell, there was a new butler, and for Dr. McCardy come up to the house on a regular visit, he was treated to a big dram, I mean a tumbler for a whisky. But the new butler, for he come up, he gave him just a tiny little dribble at the bottom, just enough to cover the bottom. And just before he left, he did his call. The butler said, "Oh, I've enough of sore throat. What do you think I could do about it?" He says, "Cut your bloody throat." So he wasn't very impressed with that. Another thing was that there was one of the ferm lasses had.
I think you've told me seen that.
I think I might have told it before. She'd gotten pregnant, and the Dr. McCardy was sent for, and he'd come in about, and he would try and get the information out to her, and says, "Now, fa's a feather, I'm nae telling. This went on for a while, and eventually she gave the answer. It was a boy on a bike. So his reply was, "Well, he was a bloody good shot." So there you go, Dr. McCardy, which it's their tune I play, but I came across it last night and thought it was a great tune to play. And then I'm going to finish with the last piece of the music I wrote for the project, which was, it's called the Linnadee.
Dunnottar Castle.
Was that?
Janice Holler says her sister used to bide in Stonehaven and she loved hiking around the castle.
It's lovely, aye.
Lorelei says it's her second favourite castle after Braemar. Laura Murray, Laura's watching, hello all. They were visiting Culdrummy today.
Oh,
and
yeah,
that's a dramatic spot.
Yes, it is. They're all good. I'm not saying one's better than another, but that was just representing something a wee bit. I couldn't have mark all the tunes about D-side. It's never representative of Buchan.
And Anna Townsend Wyatt is watching. Hello, Anna.
Yep.
Quite a few folk watching. We've also got a few more guesses.
Do you want to jump in because you're up now?
Jump in.
We'll see you in a minute.
I'll jump in. Lynn Forsyth thinks in the box it might be Monopoly Counter, specifically the Edinburgh edition. And Frank thinks Wee Nails. And for the beer, Frank thinks it's Tennent's. It's not Vitamin T tonight. No. Sandy Thompson thinks Isle of Skye, and Sandy White thinks Speyside Brewery's Bow Fiddle. So there you go. Nope. Nope. Nobody's right. There's not been any correct guesses for anything tonight. That's amazing. Usually there's somebody that gets kind of close, but there's not been anything at all. Okay, so I am going to sing a couple more songs. First of all, I'm going to do a cheeky wee poem, a four-liner by Ian Middleton. This is a sma bunnel. Fit why, speert the teacher, does a hen gie a keckle every time she's throw laying an egg? 'Cause she's proud of hersel, 2 or 3 pupils suggested. Or maybe she's gotten a flag. But a country loon claimed that he had the rights to it, and he reeled it off chapter and verse. My father says that a hen gies a keckle till the dirl wears a waffy its ears. And I think that could be right. So, I'm going to sing quite a serious song now. This is a song that I first heard, actually a great stalwart of the Doric Festival and of festivals in the North East in general, the late Gordon Easton. He was a one-man ceilidh band, wasn't he actually, Paul? He just did a hin, and he was an absolute topper o' a manny, and he's much missed. And I first heard Gordon singing this, and I've sung it for a wee while now, and in fact I recorded it with my pal Francie Devine, who you might have seen looking in on here. He sometimes looks in, and we recorded it on Francie's last CD, but we sang a completely different tune to it. So I'm going to sing the tune that I learnt from Gordon and the tune that I would normally sing, and then after I'm finished, so I don't confuse myself, I'll let you hear a wee bit of the tune that me and Francie did it to. So it's a lovely wee song called The Banks of Inverurie. One day as I was walking, and as I did pass on the banks o' Inverurie, I spied a bonny lass. Her hair hung over her shoulders broad, and her eyes like diamonds did shine on the banks o' Inverurie, and again she were mine. I did embrace this fair maid wi' all the haste I could. Her hair hung over her shoulders, all in edge the red so goud. Her hair hung over her shoulders, and her eyes like drops o' dew on the banks o' Inverurie. I long to walk with you. She said, young man, give over, do not delude me so. For after kissing, wooing comes, and after wooing, woe. My tender heart you wouldn't so near, and I'd be let be on the banks o' Inverurie. I'll walk alone, said she. She said, young man, give over, my company refrain. I ken ye are of noble blood, but of a grace faceless clan. I ken your occupation, lad, and good it canna be. On the banks o' Inverurie, I'll walk alone, said she. He said, my pretty fair maid, the truth I'll ne'er deny. On the banks o' Inverurie, 12 maids beguiled have I used to flatter fair maids, but now that shall not be. On the banks o' Inverurie, if you will walk with me. He put a horn unto his lips and blew back loud and shrill, till 24 armed men came to their master's call. I used to flatter fair maids, but now that shall not be. On the banks o' Inverurie, if you will walk with me. Now come, my pretty fair maid, and mount on horseback high, and we will take the parson go, and that immediately. And I will sing these lines with joy until that day I die. And praise, O Inverurie's banks, where first I met with thee. Thanks, Inverurie.
Well, that's going doing well.
Good.
I'm liking that.
Good. It's a nice song.
It's
It's a lovely song. The tune that Francie and I did it to was one day as I was walking and doing as I did pass on the banks o' Inverurie, I spied a bonny lass. Her hair hung over her shoulders broad, and her eyes like drops o' dew. On the banks o' Inverurie, I long to walk with you. It's an Irish tune that we did it to. And there's nothing to say that you can't decide which tune you want to do yourself. So they're both equally as nice.
Folk tradition.
Folk tradition, that's exactly
Oral
it.
tradition.
So they're both bonny tunes. But look out Francie. Look out for Francie. He's got a CD. Was it last year? This year came out.
I did write one of his poems last week.
We did. You did. That's right. Yeah. Sorry. Have you got something to say, Paul?
Are you just...
I've got one more.
Are you doing it like that, or are you...
I think I'll just do it like this.
You sure?
Mm-hmm.
I could fill in a bit.
No, it's alright.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Right, well, Sandy Thompson thinks it's Cairngorm Gold.
Okay.
Kate Taylor thinks it's Drawing Pins in the box.
Mm-hmm.
Sandy Thompson again, he's desperate to win.
Oh, Sandy.
Black Isle Brewery, Golden Eye, and I suppose the colour does suggest that. And then Jamie Bowers thinks it might be jewellery in the box.
Okay.
And Sandy White thinks Grape and Grain for the beer. And Sandy Thompson, his final guess, he says Scottish Joker IPA.
Well, Sandy, it's your final guess and you've still not got it right. I'm sorry. I feel sorry for you, Sandy, because you've had so many guesses tonight, but no, they're all wrong.
That's like Family Fortune starting wrong, you're out.
Sorry, Sandy. So, again, this is something a wee bit different for me for our last song, although it is in the Doric tradition. This is a song that I have never sung, although I'm actually thinking about adding it to my repertoire. I did do a wee bit of it for Paul earlier on, and he was, what's my name? So I reckon if it was a song, well, we'll not go into that. So, quick question for you. This might just be the folk that are from the northeast of Scotland, I'll get this, but which Tory quine invented the full body scanner? Which Tory quine invented the full body scanner? Any guesses, Paul? You know it. June MRI. And following on, this is a June Imrie song. Ta-da. It wasn't that classy, Paul. Wasn't that a really good link?
I'm laughing, so it's you result.
Okay, so you might have guessed what song this is. Right, I need to get myself in the zone for this. Okay. Well, I'm nae Brigitte Bardot and I'm nae Sophia Loren, Miss United Kingdom. No, you're wrong again, and I'm nae Prince Charles's girlfriend, or even Miss Grumpian. I'm the queen that does the strippet in Varuri. Oh, I used to operate a loom at Richard's factory. I liked it fine enough, but it wasna right for me. With my figure and my looks and my personality, I was born to do the strippet in Varuri. You stop laughing. I ta'en a bus fare to the castle gate a day to see the sights. A money said, "Hey darling, would you like to hit the heights? You're wasted in a factory, I could put your name in lights." So I signed to do the strippet in Varuri. Oh, I met a farmer at a dance. He asked to see me home. He started getting funny. Finny got me up a lane. I says, "What d'ye think I am? I'm nae just onybody you ken. I'm the queen that does the strippet in Varuri." Oh, I met a Texas millionaire. He swept me off my feet. He gave me furs and diamonds for a shop in Union Street. Oh, he wanted me to marry him, but I couldn't do it. I would miss the fun I had it in Varuri. Oh, they phoned me up for Grumpy and they said, "Let's do a deal. Your fee'll be a fiver and a lovely canteen meal." Though I couldna speak for laughing, I says, "Hey man, da be feel. I strip for £80 in Inverurie. Oh, I think I'll still be at it, even fin I'm old and grey. I winna gie up stripping till they carry me away. When I reach the pearly gates at last, I'll be really proud to say I'm the queen that does the strippet in Varuri. That was so hard to do. Paul's sitting absolutely weeping himself in the corner, and I'm sorry, I just about lost it there for a minute.
Sandy Thompson needs to calm down. Actually.
Sandy Thompson, I think, needs a call shower.
He says he's overheating.
That's as much as you're getting, Abdi.
I can see her uncles as well.
Okay, right. Are you coming back in?
Yes, I'll come back and sit down.
Okay.
So, I'm delighted this week to say nobody got it right. Nobody got it right. The beer this week, campers, is it's Früch. She's got a higher in Gaelic, so
no, I don't. I've got a standard grade.
All right. Well,
ask Margaret how to say it. How do you say it?
Is it Früch?
Or Früch?
It's heather ale anyway. I really like it. It's they claim it's the oldest continuously made beer in the world, brewed in Scotland for 4,000 years. I think they discovered an old recipe for the 1600s because it's probably something that had died out, but they recreated it, and I really like it. So there you go. You alright? You're overheating yourself.
I'm sweating. It's really warm in here tonight. Are you gonna do a what's in the box?
Alright, hold on. Got to do the tune. Got to do the tune.
Okay.
You ready?
What's in the box? 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 What's in the box?
What's in the box?
Oh, sorry, Paul Gray says he can't donate tonight to the tip jar because he's saving up for a night out in Inverurie. Okay, on yourself.
Right, there you go.
Right, what's in the box tonight? That is in the box. And it is a hair clip of mine. So if you can imagine, you put like, in the back of my hair, I'm pulling it out. It goes in where your ponytail, and then you slip that in, and that sits very nicely in the back of your hair.
That's funny.
So there you go. I got it off a Wish. Would you believe? I think it cost me £1 plus postage.
Right, you
Probably
should
shouldn't
have
have.
said it's solid silver.
Solid silver.
Solid silver. They'll listen to us begin those.
Before we finish off, I have got something to say.
Okay.
Well, I've got a couple of things to say. First of all, I want to say an absolute massive congratulations to one of our regular lookers in, who actually isn't looking in the night, I don't think. I've not seen his name popping up. But Ian Russell.
Oh, God,
a good friend of ours, Ian Russell.
Professor.
How do you say it?
Emeritus?
I don't know.
Oh, no, he's a professor.
He's high up.
He used to be the director and the founding director, I think, of the Elphinstone Institute that promotes the music, song, culture of the northeast of Scotland.
Ian has been awarded an MBE in the Queen's Honours List for his services to traditional music. So really heartfelt congratulations to Ian. We're so delighted for you.
I will say, Nate, I agree with the folk who get them, because I don't think they've done enough, but Ian absolutely deserves it.
Absolutely. It's
so,
near for time. So
no,
congratulations, Ian.
So that was good news.
Yeah, brilliant. And also, if you do fancy donating, if you're nae going out in Inverurie this weekend and you fancy donating,
wear your mask if you are.
You need to wear an awful lot more than that if you're going out in Inverurie. If you fancy donating to the tip jar, it would be much appreciated. It's www.paypal.me/Paul Anderson Shona Don. That's us.
That's us. I think we're done. Our work here is done.
Our work here is
done. The Doric Festival's over.
So that was just our little
contribution. I think it's good to keep it in mind, because I'd love to see it start up again in some form. Ken Howie for the Deeside Activity Park used to be, he would put on events for it, didn't he, run barn suppers, and we had several long chats about maybe thinking about getting going, and we got to the point where we even spoke to Sandy Stronach, who was the chairman and leading light for its entire history. And Sandy's getting on a bit now, and he said absolutely, if you wanted to tuck on the mantle, do that. So I think, there's got plenty on my plate at the minute, to be honest, but I think when things settle down, it's something I would love to see going again, just helping to keep
promote the North East,
our unique culture and identity. Not because it's better than everybody else's, just because I think it's
just
important.
As good.
And I think you lose something like that, I think you lose something quite fundamental about your wherever you come from. So it's these things, the difference, all the different bits of the country are really important. So there you go.
Oh, Karen Fraser says number 32, maybe the best yet. There you go.
Really? Do you think so?
It's Saturday, my stripping.
That's all that
Saturday with the stripping
routine seems to have got hardly bothered.
Oh, me.
Including myself, I will say. So anyway, thanks for looking in, folks. It's a great pleasure to see you looking in, and we do enjoy it. And the folk we've spoken to said that they enjoy looking in the crack, just for a crack. It just feels like you're in a big room with all your mates.
And if you fancy bunging in a wee nomination for us for the Trad Music Awards, that would be nice. Live from the lounge. Or is it a living room? Is it a lounge or a living room? I don't. You say lounge, I say living room.
Well, no, I generally I'd say we're in the living room, but live from the lounge was a bit snappier for a title, and just looking for something. Well, we're sitting in the living room in the lounge, so that's why.
And wee Dougal's here. He's come down the stairs.
Give him a lift up. Okay. Since he got his birthday cried out.
He's not very happy.
He's a bit grumpy.
He's a bit grumpy.
He'd fallen asleep looking at sausages. Yeah, he's an old boy.
Yes.
He comes in and he just sits at your feet the whole time. He's done that since as a pup. I've had him since he was 6 weeks old. And when I brought him home, when I went in to pick him up, the rest of the litter were there. I went in first. I was the first person. And when I went in amongst the litter in the folks' kitchen, just outside West Hill, he came over. The rest of them were all just flying about and playing, and kind of the way pups are, kind of wrestling and biting and stuff. he just come right over and climbed up onto my boot, turned around and sat and looked down on the rest. And yeah, you've chosen me. That's how
he did.
We plumped for Dougal. So he's been a great old boy.
Sorry, Paul Gray's asking how we nominate. If you just Google Scots Trad Music Awards, and it should come up with a website.
Okay.
Right, we should get on with it then.
Yep, we're going to finish up with just a bit of nonsense. I mean, the thing about the Doric nights, I suppose they come out of like Corncaster sort of nights. They're like localised kind of music hall. Kind of a lot of the humour things like the Nicky Tams and that sort of stuff. The Mucking of Geordie's Byre. They were designed to be entertainment. So there was a lot of humour at these kind of nights, and I think the humour along with the music and song really made them kind of magical experiences. So this is just a bit of nonsense. This is a tune called The Hens March Over the Midden, followed by the 4-poster bed. Just a bit of fun and nonsense to finish.
How many times are you doing
it? Once and twice.
Okay, with repeats, without repeats. I'll just follow you.
Aye, we'll just see what happens. Assure myself.
You can tell we're in a practice.
But we'll see you next week. We'll be here next Friday, and I'll be doing a workshop on Wednesday if you're interested in listening to me rambling.
Can I just get any off you?
Okay.
Yep.
2, 3, yeah. All the best, folks. Take care, and we'll see you next week if you've got the time and inclination. And if we're spared, we'll see you later.
Cheerio.
Cheerio.